Opening day for the 2022 season of the KBO is Saturday, April 2nd. This will be the 41st season of professional baseball in Korea and the 40th anniversary of the league's founding. Everything will run as usual, 10 teams, a 144-game schedule. The All-Star Game will return this year after not taking place the last 2 years. It will be held on July 16th at Jamsil Stadium. The season will go on till the end of September, playoffs and Korean series in October. Games are shown live and free throughout the season on Naver Sports. Find daily scores, stats, and schedules on My KBO Stats. Links to both are in the description. And subscribe to this channel and catch my World Baseball News video every Monday, where I give a recap of the past week in the KBO and other baseball leagues around the world. Last year, the KBO took a month off in July and August for the Olympics, so the Korean series didn't end until late November. The KT Wiz captured their first ever Korean series title after tying for the best record in the regular season, winning the one-game playoff for the number 1 seed, and sweeping 4 games from the Daejeon Bears for the championship. So let's start with the defending champions today. 30-year-old right-hander Young Pyo-ko was the top starting pitcher, going 11-6 in 25 starts, 166 and 2/3 innings, ERA the league's third best at 2.92. 21 of his 25 starts were quality starts, and his 104 whip was the league's best. 34-year-old right-hander Odrisamer Despine led the KBO in innings with 188 and 2/3 in 33 starts, top 5 in strikeouts with 165, 13 wins, 10 losses. Another reliable foreign starter was 31-year-old right-hander William Cuevas. He was 9-5 in 23 starts with a 4.12 ERA. He was especially good towards the end of the season and got the win in Game 1 of the Korean series. The Wiz closer is 31-year-old right-hander Daejeon Kim. He appeared in 65 games, ERA 2.42, number 4 in the league with 32 saves. Hitting was led by 22-year-old first baseman Baek-ho Kang. He was third in batting with a 3.47 average, second in on-base percentage at 4.50, fifth in slugging at 5.21, third in doubles with 40, and also hit 16 home runs. Overall, one of the best hitters in the KBO. Kang's 16 home runs led the team. The rest of the hitters were pretty average. A few good hitters like Jae-gyun Hwang and Jung-dae Bae, but no one that really stands out. Bae was the team's leading base stealer with only 12. 29-year-old outfielder Henry Ramos joins the Wiz this year after making his MLB debut last year with the Arizona Diamondbacks, where he had 50 at-bats, 10 hits, and 1 home run. So the defending champions are bringing back mostly the same players they had last year, and the star players are fairly young. This should be a playoff team again. The Daejeon Bears were 4th in the final regular season standings. For a while it didn't look like they'd even make the postseason, but when they did reach the postseason, they fought their way to the Korean series for the 7th straight year, only to get swept in 4 games by the Wiz. The Bears' ace was 2021 KBO MVP Ariel Miranda. The 33-year-old Cuban lefty led the league and set a new KBO record with 225 strikeouts, 28 starts, 21 of them quality starts, 173 and 2/3 innings, 14 wins, 5 losses, and a league-leading 2.33 ERA. Another good starter is 27-year-old right-hander Won Jun Choi, 29 starts, 12 wins, 4 losses, and the KBO's 10th best ERA at 3.30. 33-year-old Kang Ryo Kim is their closer, 2.09 ERA, but whip is a little high at 1.53, 21 saves but also 7 blown saves. 29-year-old right-hander Gun Hui Hong is another option in the bullpen. He appeared 65 times and recorded 17 holds with a 2.78 ERA. New to the pitching staff this year is 32-year-old right-hander Robert Stock. He made 3 starts in MLB last year, 2 with the Mets and 1 with the Cubs, and it didn't go very well. He is the replacement for Walker Lockett, who was 9-9 with a 2.98 ERA in 21 starts last year, but was not re-signed. 33-year-old first baseman Jose Miguel Fernandez is back for a 4th season with the Bears. In 2021, he slashed .315, .391, .443 with 15 home runs. Those numbers are down from the previous year, but still very good. They've got a pair of good power hitters, 33-year-old outfielder Jae Hwan Kim, 274, 382, 501, with 27 homers. 30-year-old first baseman Suk Hwan Young added 28 home runs. Kim and Young were in the top 10 in home runs and RBI. 28-year-old outfielder Soo Hang-jo had a .417 on-base percentage and led the team with 21 steals, though he only played in 115 games. So they've got plenty of good hitters. There was one more. Kun-woo Park batted .325 last year, but he is no longer with the team. They'll be counting on their new foreign pitcher to make up for the loss of the departing one, who was a reliable starter, and they'll have to replace one of their best hitters. Doesn't sound easy, but this is one team I would not bet against. They always find a way to win. The Samsung Lions tied for the best record during the regular season after missing the postseason in 2020, but lost the one-game playoff with the Wiz, then were beaten twice by the Bears and eliminated from the postseason. Their success was mostly based on pitching. 3 of the KBO's top 6 pitchers in ERA were Lions pitchers. 34-year-old lefty Jung Hyun Baek was 14-5 in 27 starts with the second-best ERA at 2.63. 21-year-old right-hander Daejeon Won had a breakout year in 2021, 14-7 in 26 starts with an ERA of 3.06. It was his third year in the KBO. In his first 2 seasons, his ERA was just under 5. And 32-year-old right-hander David Buchanan tied for the league lead with 16 wins and only 5 losses in 30 starts with an ERA of 3.10. Joining the rotation this year will be 32-year-old right-hander Albert Suarez. In 2021, he made 24 relief appearances with a sub-4 ERA for the Tokyo Yakult Swallows of NPB. He will convert to a starter for the Lions. And they had the KBO's best closer, 39-year-old right-hander Sung-Hwan Oh, a former MLB and NPB pitcher, recorded a league-leading 39 saves and only 1 blown save in 64 relief appearances with an ERA of 2.03. Their other go-to reliever is 37-year-old right-hander Kyu Min Woo. He appeared 60 times with 24 holds. Hitting is pretty good too. 29-year-old outfielder Ja Wook Koo batted .306 with 30 doubles and 22 home runs. 35-year-old first baseman Jae-il Oh hit 25 homers with an on-base of .366. 32-year-old outfielder Jose Perella in his first KBO season hit 29 homers and scored 100 runs. And 36-year-old catcher Min-ho Kang had an on-base percentage of .361 with 18 home runs. No really big moves during the offseason. They'll be bringing back mostly the same players from a team that tied for the most wins in the regular season. We know the team can win with these players. They just need to find a way to win in the postseason. The LG Twins were third in the regular season standings, only a game and a half behind the Wiz and Lions. In the postseason, they lost 2-1 against the Bears. Pitching was led by 2 foreign pitchers. 32-year-old right-hander Casey Kelly was 13-8 with a 3.15 ERA in 30 starts. He'll be back for his 4th season with the Twins this year. The other one was Andrew Suarez, and he will not be back. After winning 10 games with an ERA just over 2, he left to sign with an NPB team. In his place, they signed 30-year-old right-hander Adam Plutko. In 2021, he appeared in 38 games, 56 1/3 innings, with an ERA of 6.71. A pair of young arms lead the bullpen. Closer is 23-year-old right-hander Woo-Suk Go, 30 saves in 63 games, ERA 2.17. And 22-year-old right-hander Woo Young Jung, a league-leading 70 appearances, 27 holds, and a 2.22 ERA. As for hitting, 28-year-old outfielder Chung Ki-hong led the KBO with a .456 on-base percentage, 4th in batting with a .328 average, and stole 23 bases. 34-year-old outfielder Hyun-Soo Kim hit 17 homers with a .376 on-base percentage, and 32-year-old outfielder Eun Sung Jae hit 16 homers, on-base .359. 27-year-old infielder Rio Ruiz joins the team after splitting last season in MLB with the Rockies and Orioles, hitting 3 home runs in 62 games. Last year, the Twins didn't have any luck with their foreign hitters. The first one struggled with injuries, the second one underperformed and was sent to the minors. Also joining the Twins is 32-year-old outfielder Hae-min Park. Last year with the Lions, he had a .383 on-base percentage with 36 steals. They lost a really good starting pitcher during the offseason, and you never know if the new guy will be able to match what he did. The bullpen is still strong. Hitting should be good with the 3 outfielders all coming back. It might get even better if Ruiz can be a good contributor. And this is a team that was just a game and a half from the top of the standings last year. The 5th and final spot in the KBO postseason went to the KBH Heroes, 3 games over 500 and 7 games out of first. They won their first postseason game over the Bears, but as the lower seed had to win twice and couldn't do it, so their season ended. 32-year-old lefty Eric Jokic has been the team's ace the past few years. He'll be back for his 4th season with the team. In 2020, he had the KBO's lowest ERA. Last year, he ranked 4th with a mark of .293 in 31 starts, tied for the league lead in wins with 16. 22-year-old right-hander Woo Jin-an started 21 games last year after pitching out of the bullpen in the previous year. He was 8-8 with a .326 ERA and 110 strikeouts in 107 innings. The bullpen was a problem, no dominant relievers, no true closer. Jae-woong Kim made the most appearances. Sang-woo Cho had the most saves with just 15. Both had an ERA around .350. They've brought in a new foreign pitcher, 29-year-old right-hander Tyler Epler. He pitched at AAA Rochester in 2021, where he had an ERA over 7. Hitting was the Heroes' strength, led by 23-year-old outfielder and left-handed batter Jung-Hoo Lee. Last year was the best of his 5-year career, winning the batting title with a .360 average, on-base percentage .438. 31-year-old catcher Dongwon Park led the team in home runs with 22. 23-year-old second baseman Hae-sung Kim, on-base percentage .372, led the KBO with 46 steals, only caught 4 times. And they added a big name to the lineup for the 2021 season. 31-year-old outfielder Yasiel Puig, a former Major League All-Star, joins the team after a good season in the LMB last summer. The best thing about this team is the youth. A lot of their best players are young and could get even better. If some of their young relievers can do the same, this team can go higher in the standings. The best team not to make the postseason last year was the SGlanders, previously known as the SK Wyverns. They finished a half game behind the Heroes for the last playoff spot, but it was a big improvement after finishing 9th in 2020. Better pitching could have boosted them into the postseason. They didn't have a true ace. The best starting pitcher they had was Wilmer Font. He was 8-5 in 25 starts with a 3.46 ERA. But that should change this year. Just a few weeks ago, they signed 33-year-old lefty Kwang Hyun Kim. The last time he played for this team was in 2019 when he won 17 games. More recently, he's coming off 2 successful seasons pitching for the St. Louis Cardinals. It appears they've got their ace now. And they signed a new foreign pitcher. 35-year-old right-hander Ivan Nova started 227 games in MLB over 11 seasons. They never settled on a closer, trying out several different pitchers to work the 9th inning. The best was probably 25-year-old lefty Daejeon Kim. He made 59 appearances, ERA .239. The hitting got a big boost last year with the signing of 16-year Major League veteran Shin-Soo Choo. In his first ever KBO season, Choo hit 21 homers and stole 25 bases with a .409 on-base percentage. But he was not their best hitter. That title belonged to 35-year-old third baseman Jung Choi. He had the KBO's second-best OPS of .972, led the KBO with 35 home runs, and hit career homer number 400. 32-year-old outfielder Yoo Sum Han also hit over 30 home runs and had an OPS over 900. 29-year-old infielder Kevin Cron joins the Landers after spending last season with NPB's Hiroshima Carp, where he hit 6 home runs in 42 games. So the hitting was already good. The pitching should get a lot better with the addition of Kim. Anything less than a postseason appearance this year would be a huge disappointment. The NC Dinos won their first ever Korean Series title in 2020, then followed it up by missing the postseason completely in 2021. They were 9 games out of first and 2 games behind the 5th place Heroes. Dinos ace Drew Rucinski turned in another great season, 15 wins and 30 starts, ERA .317. 29-year-old right-hander Wes Parsons wasn't bad, sub-4 ERA and 24 starts. But that was it. The rest of their rotation was unreliable. 33-year-old right-hander Yong-Chan Lee was a decent closer, 16 saves, ERA .219, WHIP .103 in 39 games. But there was no one else worth mentioning in the bullpen. Hitting, on the other hand, was great. Catcher Lee Ji-young was the KBO leader in OPS .995 and slugging .581, top 5 in batting, on-base percentage, and home runs. He's the league's most productive hitter, and he'll be back with the Dinos this year. But some of the biggest bats will not return. Sungbum Na and Aaron Altair ranked 2nd and 3rd in the league in home runs. Both players departed during the offseason. Replacing Na in right field will be 31-year-old Kun-woo Park. He batted .325 with a .400 on-base percentage for the Daejeon Bears last year. Another new arrival in the outfield is 34-year-old Ah-Sup Son, a .319 batter with a .390 on-base percentage for the Lotte Giants in 2021. And replacing Altair as the foreign hitter is 31-year-old outfielder Nick Martini. Seems like he could be a good replacement, too. In 45 plate appearances with the Chicago Cubs last year, he batted .270 with a .356 on-base percentage. One player who struggled in 2021 and could bounce back this year is 29-year-old infielder Min-woo Park. Last year, his average was .261 and his on-base percentage was .360, down from .345 and .402 respectively in 2020. It's really hard to tell how the hitting will be with all the big names going out and coming in. I'm sure it'll be fine though. But pitching was a problem last year and they didn't make any big additions. Their hitting will keep them competitive, but their pitching might keep them out of the postseason once again. The Lotte Giants missed the postseason for the 4th straight year, 4.5 games out of the last postseason spot, 6 games under 500. 26-year-old right-hander Se-eung Park emerged as the top starting pitcher last year with 10 wins in 28 starts and an ERA just under 4. Dan Straley, one of the KBO's top pitchers in 2020, saw his ERA shoot up from .250 to .407, and the Giants parted ways with him during the offseason. 2 new foreign pitchers joined the team this year. One is 26-year-old lefty Charlie Barnes. In his first Major League season last year, he made 8 starts for the Minnesota Twins, ERA just under 6. The other one is 29-year-old right-hander Glenn Sparkman. He pitched in MLB from 2017 to 2020, and last year saw limited time with the Oryx Buffaloes of NPB. 28-year-old right-hander Won Jung Kim is their closer. ERA is a bit high at .359, but he was 2nd in the league with 35 saves and only 5 blown saves. A good arm in the bullpen is 20-year-old right-hander Jun Yong Choi, 44 appearances, 20 holds, and a .285 ERA. Plenty of good hitters in the lineup even after the departure of Asop Son. 36-year-old outfielder Jun Woo Jun had the KBO's second highest batting average at .348. 31-year-old second baseman Chi Hong An batted .306 with 30 doubles. 34-year-old first baseman Hoon Jung had an on-base of .380 with 14 homers. 39-year-old first baseman Daeho Lee hit 19 over the fence. He will be retiring at the end of this season. The new foreign hitter is 26-year-old outfielder DJ Peters, replacing the outgoing Dixon Machado. In his first major league season in 2021 with the Rangers and Dodgers, he showed some power, hitting 13 home runs in 70 games, but batted under 200 and struck out a lot. Their best hope for improvement is that the incoming foreign players perform better than the outgoing ones, and that some young hitters can come through, as some of their best hitters are getting up there in age. That's a lot to wish for. The Giants may be missing the postseason for a 5th straight year. The Kia Tigers missed the postseason for the 3rd straight year. They were nowhere close, 18 games under 500, 10.5 out in the postseason race. But they made some off-season moves that show they don't plan on staying in the bottom half of the standings much longer. Daniel Mengden was their top starting pitcher last year, the only one with an ERA under 4. He is no longer with the team. In his place, they've brought in 2 foreign pitchers. One is 32-year-old lefty Sean Nolan. In 2021, he made 5 starts and 5 relief appearances for the Washington Nationals, ERA .439. The other one is 26-year-old right-hander Ronnie Williams. He spent last summer in the San Francisco Giants system in AA and AAA, and last winter in the Puerto Rican League. They're all set at closer with 20-year-old right-hander Hae-Young Jung. He appeared 64 times, recorded 34 saves with a .220 ERA. Good setup man too. 27-year-old right-handed pitcher Hyung-Sik Jung made the second most appearances with 69, and recorded 34 holds with an ERA of .329. The offense was weak. Not one Tigers hitter finished in the top 30 in OPS, but that will not be the case this year with the arrival of 32-year-old outfielder Sungbum Na. He joins the Tigers after 9 seasons with the Dinos. In 2021, he was second in the KBO with 33 home runs, slugged over 500, and hit over 100 RBI. His 6-year, $12.6 million contract is the largest in KBO history. And they signed 29-year-old outfielder Socrates Brito, a 5-year Major League veteran who's done well the last few years in the Dominican League. Top returning hitters, 32-year-old second baseman Sun Bin Kim. He hit .307, on base .375. And 24-year-old outfielder Won Jun Choi, a .295 batter, .370 on base, with 40 steals, second most in the league. This team should be improved in every area, but how much they'll improve is the question. They were a long way from being a postseason team last year. The Hanwha Eagles won a few more games last year than they did in 2020, but they were still 34 games under 500, dead last for the 2nd straight year. This team does have some good starting pitchers. 30-year-old right-handed pitcher Nick Kingham won 10 games and 30 starts, ERA .319. 31-year-old lefty Ryan Carpenter had an ERA just under 4 in 30 starts, second highest strikeout total in the KBO with 179. 24-year-old right-hander Jae-Min Kong was the best in their bullpen, appearing 58 times with an ERA of .213. He did not work well as a closer, though, with more blown saves than saves. Best hitter was 20-year-old third baseman Si-Hwan No, .386 on-base percentage with 18 home runs. 22-year-old second baseman Eun-Won Jung had a .407 on-base percentage, stole 19 bases but was also caught 11 times. New to the team is 31-year-old outfielder Michael Tauchman, 175 plate appearances with the San Francisco Giants last year, 4 home runs, .286 on-base percentage. Some good young hitters with room to grow. Best 2 starting pitchers are coming back. They just need to find someone who can work the 9th inning. With these players, the Eagles can win more games than they did in 2021, but it won't be enough. This team will be at or near the bottom once again. And that's it, the 10 teams of the KBO going into the 2022 season. My pick for the Korean series, Twins over Lions. What are your picks? Let us know down in the comments. Anyway, that's all for this one. Until next time, this is Baseball International. See ya.